So, hi, hello, and welcome everyone to the season 2 of Join John series. I'm John Vincent, co-founder of NicheBrains and the host for this session. Just a quick brief about NicheBrains. So, NicheBrains is a modern consulting platform that helps MSMEs to accelerate their growth and transformation by connecting them to curated industry experts on demand. So, NicheBrains also provides unlimited range of consistent business opportunities for the freelance industry experts who look to realize their full potential. So in this season, we'll be joined with some of the top industry experts to discuss on empowerment of freelance consultants through different tools, insights, and opportunities. So in this session, I'm very happy to welcome our very distinguished guest, Mr. Vijay Venkatesh, co-founder and managing director of Syscon Cronus. So Vijay has done his diploma in mechanical engineering from the Central University of Technology, Chennai, 1983 itself. So after his diploma, he started his career and he has worked over 13 years across various manufacturing industries, small-scale industries like the English Electric, S&S Power, Switchgear, Sundaram Brake Linings, Haritha Industries, and Bakelite, Hylam, etc. So at his early 30s itself, he took the plunge of entrepreneurship. With his domain expertise in the year 1996 itself, Vijay co-founded Syscon. Syscon promotes its own ERP product for small and medium enterprises. He's passionate about digital enterprises. He's also an active member at the Bharatiya Yuva Shakti Trust, a not-for-profit organization dedicated for entrepreneurship support and development. And he's been with that since 2018. He's also given several guest lectures for students on professional topics, career guidance, and entrepreneurship. He's also presented at several industry associations, educational institutions, and also is part of the panel discussions, as well as posted many articles on LinkedIn. So, if you can go to his LinkedIn profile, you'll be able to see quite a lot of articles on the adoption of technology by MSMEs. So, very welcome to Vijay. Great to have you with us today.
Thank you, John. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you being the host.
Request all to just have your mics alone muted.
Laptop पे कैसा करना जरा WhatsApp open है.
All right. Okay. So Vijay, just to start on, right, we have a very interesting and important topic for today. It's a very important one when I say the MSME's guide to business growth to process automation. So before I go into the actual, the discussion itself, I'm just going to put in some stats here, which I've collected, right? This was conducted, an independent survey was conducted by one of the enterprises here. So I'm just going to, pull that out for you here, okay? So one is from the industry side, okay? So what it says is 70% of IT leaders believe automation saves about 50% of the time. Similarly, 50% also add that, the automation can also reduce the overall cost by 10 to 50%. And employees again also save up from 10 to 50% due to process automation, leading to obviously reduced employee costs. And 50% of the organizations believe that automation reduces or eliminates the chances of human error. And when we come to the the job market or the worker side, what they say is about 61% of the leaders believe that the process automation makes it easier to pick the right talent for the job. And also automation can sustain industrial growth by 1.4% of the global GDP every year, resulting in more jobs for the right workers. And finally, the 70% of the professionals see automation as a chance to get better, in fact, with higher paying jobs if they upskill themselves. So let me again, start the question, So what is this automation, automation of process for MSMEs, manufacturing industries, what it actually means, Vijay?
Absolutely. In fact, I think your statistics has been a very good precursor for us to start this session. If you actually look at John, this MSME industries, the manufacturing, when you really look at about, they have multiple processes, right?
Right.
So they have sale order process, procurement, planning, then subcontracting, then production quality control, accounting, compliance. I can go on plant maintenance, payroll. Many things are there, right?
Right.
Unless they are going to bring all these things together, right now for them the challenge is meeting the compliance. So now the compliance is another area where they have to meet those requirements in a very shortest time, right? Apart from that, one of the other requirement for the MSME, if they are B2B, whatever I said is enough. When you're talking about B2C, then there has to be a portal, the product has to be offered through the portal, the inventory has to be managed, there has to be a backlash of requirement, so inventory has to be planned. There are many things which has to go hand in hand, right? And if you look at post GST, John, post GST, the automation has become a lot more significant because the time for compliance is shrinking, right? We are talking about the entire books of accounts has to be closed within 30 days. And then by 10th, everything has to be filed. Your books are almost ready kind of a stuff, right? So, and if you look at e-invoicing, it is also going one step further. So which means if you have the e-invoice compliance has to be there, almost on a every day, the books are closed. Your purchase guy is, when you are procuring a material, he's closing his books. When you're doing a sale, you're doing e-invoice, your books is also closed, almost kind of a stuff, right? And most importantly, all the small industries, the biggest challenge right now, you can go and ask at least around, 50% of the industries where we are working, John, their major, issue is on-time delivery and traceability. Most of the industries are asking for this requirement. So all these requirement, if this has to be handled, then it has to have an end-to-end automation without which they will not be able to manage their business, right? And if you actually look at as a country, if you look as a individual enterprises, the rule remains same. See, if you actually look at we know that there has been a compliance, the software compliance has been insisted 3 years back, and it has been started from the current year, right? So which means including the entire the transaction audit trail, everything has to be available in the product, because as a country, we want to tell the whole world that, look, we are compliant. It is not as a country, as an enterprise, we are compliant, so that the individual enterprise can, get funds, right? And the country also can get, foreign investment. So all these things are going towards that. So this is the reason automation becomes very important.
Perfect. Wonderful. Yeah. So I'm just going towards more from the expert side of it, Vijay. Actually, I know that these are pretty much important for an MSME. I know they're pretty much important. But let me take the cap of an expert here. So as an expert, how can I identify or suggest to an MSME, right, to say that they should go for an automation?
Correct.
How do I put it across to them?
In fact, personally, when I work, I always used to find one challenge, okay? Getting the trust of MSMEs. So getting the trust of MSMEs, John, okay? Most of the times, the MSMEs only will trust people who are there in the local area and the people who are experts in the local area, all, the local, proximity, right? So even if I say that, look, we have already implemented in, 10 electronic industries, okay? First question they will ask, let's say Bangalore company I'm talking, how many you have implemented in Bangalore? Okay. And the next question they will ask, have you implemented in the electronic city where my neighbor is actually using a product? So end of the day, the partner ecosystem becomes extremely important to provide a right word of mouth for them, saying that, hey, look, like that, Amitabh Bachchan, ICICI Bank comes, hum hana, right? So somebody has to tell them saying that, hey, don't worry, we are there to do that, right? So they become a very important bridge in terms of the service providers and that MSME who are going to adopt the system. If you actually ask, the experts and the consultants, their role is really very important. Okay.
Right.
And the second thing also saying that, how do you identify, whether there is an automation requirement is there or not. Okay.
Correct.
So if you actually look at, from experience, we can say, from a turnover of above 5 crores, John, if you look at, that is where the complexity starts. Okay, more number of orders, more number of SKUs, procurements are more, invoicing is more, number of GRNs are more, issues are more, right? So that is where the complexity starts. Any organization above 5 crore will be a right time for them to approach the automation. Okay. And most importantly, John, if you look at people who would not have heard the terminology at all, okay?
Right.
We call it as a cost of goods, COGM and COGS. Okay, the two things people can Google and find out. One is the biggest challenge for the industry is cost of goods manufactured, cost of goods sold, and profit made for per invoice. This kind of information has to be captured online. That is how they'll be able to know, are they really making profit or not, right? This is really important. The whole IT system has to be geared up for that. That's very important, not from the industry standpoint, it is also from the investor standpoint. See,
Right.
most of the time the industry goes on approximation, John. That is another challenge, automation can solve. Yep.
Right.
Mm.
Right. I think you made your point, right? So as an expert, if I'm working for ideally, as you said, companies who are above 5 crores, their ideal targets, and that's where you identify and suggest to this MSMEs that's it's time that you have to probably go for an automation, right? Now that I've probably identified that this is the company that that should go for an automation. So how, as an expert, next, how should I suggest the process for an MSME to adapt the automation? How should I go about it? Should I say
Perfect.
that, hey, you have to start the process? How do I suggest that?
Now that good thing. Because the starting and the approach becomes very important. We need to provide them in a more consumable format, right? So they must be in a position to consume as piece by piece. If you look at small industries, John, they are not like larger companies, only the CEO driven or the one-man driven organization, most of it, right? So his time share becomes very important when we are talking about this kind of a cultural change. Okay. So it is something like, see, I really don't know how many of us can relate to the statement. See, I come from a middle class family, right? So when we went for our, NGGO Nagar house in Chengalpet, my father bought a house for 17,500 rupees, the entire house. Okay. So for the first thing, what my father thought, okay, let us get inside the house first so that we can stop paying the rent. Okay, painting, we'll do it later. I think probably for about 30 years, I never know what wardrobe actually is. Okay, without wardrobe, we all survive, right? I'm not saying that today it is possible. But all I am saying is the MSME, when they are talking about technology adoption, it is very important. They have to divide all these things piece by piece and they have to start implementing it, right?
Right.
So why they should divide into piece by piece is the reason is this. One, there is a minimum investment being provided for that. And point number two, there is a limited time given for that. And point number three, they are also able to see the results. So this is how they should start building it step by step. What is essential, they have to start building it and going step by step. This is where the experts need to suggest them, hey, look, don't go for a big bang approach, go for a structured and step by step approach, right? So what generally, personally, we recommend the organizations, the challenge actually starts from purchase and inventory. If you are, the company is making about 10 type of products, okay, they will have anywhere between 200, 300 input components, and it can run up to 3,000 components depending on the size of, kind of business they are in, right? Somebody is in electronic industry, they will have minimum about 3,000, 4,000 components there. If they are in engineering industry, they have got about 500 components, right? 500 raw materials, sub-assemblies, all that put together. So purchase and inventory is a step number 1. Sales, planning and production is step number 2. Accounting is step number 3. Quality control and plant maintenance is step number 4. And then payroll is step number 5. This approach they take, they are going to manage only minimum number of people at every step. So it becomes easy for them to manage the automation part. Okay. And another important point, the consultant has to suggest the vendor saying that, hey, can you give some trial for these guys? They want to try the system. Because most of the times people know the system is working, right? See, now imagine if you look at the car on the road, the car has been running for 20 years, but tell me somebody want to buy a car, that fellow says, I want to take a test drive, right? So that's very important. Yeah. Nobody is going to dump the money. I just want to see how it comforts, how it feels, kind of a thing, right? So the trial is very important, right? So it is not somebody is saying, it is we have to get convinced, yes, the product is going to work for us, right? And another important point, whatever steps I had talked about, the consultants also has to know what are all the data required at every stage. There are some masters required, there are some opening balances required, some open transactions required when you're implementing an IT. So they have to really prepare the organization, make sure that these things are kept ready from the user side so that the project can take off very smoothly, right? And the consultants are predominantly, John, right? Because all the MSMEs needs 2 kind of support. One support is project management, other support is handholding. These 2 things are required. And when the project is fully completed also, I would add one last point. When the project is fully completed also, there has to be some kind of audit has to be performed at least in every quarter, every 6 months, they have to do that to make sure that data integrity has been maintained well. So that's very important. These are all the things which can be done by the experts. Make sure that the transition is happening rightly. So I probably would like to say, very relevant, context which has happened recently. You look at the Chandrayaan, the rocket which has landed on moon. There are many countries who have sent rocket, but how many rocket has landed? That's the point, right? So many people will start the initiative, but we have to land the initiative properly. That's really important. That's where the consultants and the right team is required for us to make it happen.
Just once again, just a quick reminder, everyone. I've again pasted a form in the chat. So it'll be good if you can just go in and give in your personal information. So it'll help us, to reach back and also share this recording back with you all. So I just request you to kindly fill that form up. All right. And thanks once again, Vijay, you've given, what are the specific ones. You said that you have to go in a step-by-step approach. You can probably look at immediate benefits. I'm just picking out some of the keywords that you have used and look at first your sales process automation, then slowly move into your final accounting and tally and inventory and all of that. So that's how you're. So, but as an expert, right? If I have to also recommend, how can I also say that what is that? How you will be benefited as an organization? I did, we did speak about some stats as well, but then when I say benefits in terms of actual numbers, today as a customer, I would really love to see. You are probably getting like I'm going to be benefited by say X percentage, or probably in the revenue, or it could be in the cost savings. That could be multiple areas. Overall, when I'm going to go for an automation, I'm going to have some benefits. So how do I basically put across where, which are the areas how you can, gain benefits and everything? And can you, from your experience, also say the typical benefits or gains that an organization can gain through this automation? So that is something which an expert can put it across.
Very true. Very true. In fact, John, the primary importance of IT is no longer a fashion statement. People don't have to say that, look, we are also using an automated system, or we are into a larger product, or we are using a ERP system. It is no longer a fashion statement, because we should have a tangible return on investment for the organization. Otherwise, IT doesn't make any sense for the industry, right?
Right.
It's a good question, because if I focus the first and foremost thing, the benefit what they would get is, first of all, the firefighting within the industry would stop, right? So what is the firefighting fundamentally? If you look at the industry, most of the people use that statement saying that I am not aware, nobody has told me. This is a very standard statement across the industry, right? Absolutely. This material is supposed to go, sir, I don't know, nobody has told me, right? So this is what the first thing the IT actually fixes, the automation fixes. That is what your first statement told. The productivity is improving. Almost 50% of the productivity goes up. Nobody has told me, I am not aware. These two statements itself will actually is an inefficiency of 50% within the organization. That's what it actually solves. Okay.
Right.
And the second most important thing is there are a lot of order rescheduling happens, material rescheduling happens. Okay. The organization's other biggest challenge is the working capital, right? The working capital problem is unwanted materials are sitting. For required materials, they don't have money to buy. Why it has been happening? Because inventories are not balanced, right? Right. If you look at how the ROI is going to come, the benefit part of it is when you have a proper system, when you have a rescheduling, when you have a reorder level, there are people who are constantly monitoring all these things. That is where the working capital control would be happening for them. Okay. And correct. The most important thing is, currently, John, if you look at, there are a lot of online funding organizations are there. They are in a position to give fund for as low as 10 to 11% on a diminishing interest rate, which is much competitive than the banks. Okay. But what they need, these people need a fully integrated system which they can access and take data. They need only two data. One, your GST information, which is available from the portal, which has been given access for all the companies. Correct. Just provide your GST number, they know your entire kundli, right? The whole thing they will be able to take out, right? And the second, completely unmanipulated internal system that they can access and take data. Okay. The older days are gone, John, frankly. See, most of the industries, you and me, we know that to retain the working capital limit, there is some other stock statement, they prepare another stock statement, give it to the bank. Okay. Those things and all is not going to work, right? It is a real-time data. They should have access. so that the fund availability is not a problem. See, most of the industries, they complain funds are not available for us. Okay.
Correct.
If you have a proper IT automation, if you are able to provide a transparent data to the people, fund is never a problem. If the industry is doing about 20% clear profit and all accounting done properly, funds is never a problem for them. Okay. This is another biggest advantage they would get. Okay. And most of the industries are, as I rightly said, many larger industries are asking for traceability. So without automation, it is not possible. And even the industry has to bring investors. They should have a proper system in place, right? And now if you look at remote auditing has become a norm of the industry. There is no longer papers are required. Your purchase bills and your sales bills, all that need not go to your auditing at all. You can scan it, attach it to the document, give a username password for the auditor with the specific reports access for them. They can do the entire audit without even meeting in person. It is possible, right? So there are many things they can do, and these are all the benefits. If you ask in terms of percentage, if you have a proper system in place, 20% inventory can come down. Anywhere from 3% to 20% the inventory can be controlled, right? So this is a big saving. And mostly customer collection, outstanding reduction can happen to the extent of 22%, because people don't follow it up because they don't know the bills are pending, right? So these are all the things which can really help. I am only talking about 2 parameters, but there are many, right? And one parameter I would like to say, if it is a larger bill of material, from inquiry to offer, company takes somewhere around 2 days to 7 days.
Right.
Okay. If you have an automated system, in 1 hour, your offer can go. 1 hour. So that's a benefit, organization get. All these small things, can improve the efficiency of the organization. As you rightly said, your first opening statement is all been coming as a contribution of all these parameters, John.
Right. Wonderful, wonderful. So now that, we as a, expert, I basically, identified how I should go about. I've looked at the benefits as well in terms of how an MSME can do. So now, how do I basically go ahead with this process of automation? When I say, is it like I have to look at the size of the organization? Because today the automation can be in multiple phases. It could be like I can start up with probably a cloud-based one, or it could be in on-premise, or it could be multiple disparate systems as well. So there are various ways at which as an expert you can recommend to an organization. But but from putting it from your shoes, let's say that you're an expert. How would you recommend or begin this process of automation itself for an MSME? How do you begin it?
Okay, the good one, because this is very important for them to know how can they take their first step in terms of testing the whole thing, right?
Right.
So since you said, the deployment of cloud or on-premise, probably we can talk first, then I will talk about, what are the steps we can take for the adoption purpose.
Sure.
Now, if you actually look at, John, the cloud is becoming a de facto, choice for the industry, right? But the industry always has got a dilemma, can I put the data outside? Is it safe, right? So this one question, they need to somehow address it in terms of, we can talk about, we have jewelry at home, right?
Correct.
So whether to keep it at home or keep it at bank, that's a choice we are talking about. Okay. Correct. So probably keeping it at the bank is safer than home. But somebody asked the question, is a bank 100% safe? 100% nothing is safe on there, right? If you're a driver, when you go out and come back, if you come back home, yeah, you are there. If you don't come back home, you're not there, right? All I am saying is I'm not talking about negatively, but I am saying, talking about a very idealistic situation. There's nothing called idealistic situation, right? So now here, there are 2 points we are talking about. Point number 1, between safety and business continuity, right? I have seen many of the industries keeping data within their own premise. There are multiple times it has got hacked. They have lost data many a times. Okay. Because what is the current situation? None of the system administrators will be coming to work on a remote location of a manufacturing industry. Point number 2, they cannot afford for a full-time system administrator. And point number 3, they will not be able to create the whole, server, backup, patch update. There are many technical, intricate things. They may not be able to do it. A data center is doing everything to keep it ready for them, right? And if someone wants some extra, security or safety, you can go for an individual VM. which nobody else will have an access. See, most of the times the server is all shared. If you want a cost-effective solution, right? If you say, I would like to invest a little bit extra because we need a security for that, you can put your system administrator, buy your own VM, ask the ERP guys to do only support. Rest of the times, ERP guys also need not have to have access. You can maintain it on your own. That's it. So that way, either way, the cloud has to be the choice, right? Whether you're going for a shared cloud or you're going for a dedicated cloud, okay? So this choice is very important, because when you go for an IT, when everybody is working on Excel sheet, John, something actually breaks and goes wrong, still the business works, right?
Correct.
Right. But if you are on an IT platform, if some transaction doesn't happen, the next transaction all will fail. The whole company comes to a grinding halt. So the continuity becomes very important. So my personal opinion, cloud has to be the de facto choice. Point number one.
Right.
And point number two, in terms of looking at benefit, as we discussed earlier, they have to take that step-by-step approach of taking the inventory first, sales next, and accounting next. So they have to go for one after another, so that they're able to, look at the benefit and they're able to see the larger benefit for the industry, right?
Yeah.
So these all things, and depending on the organization size, I also, would recommend if they can go for a larger system, or probably a right fit system. Those are all the things based on the functionality they can decide, and they could do based on that.
Absolutely. I think some valid thoughts you have given here as to how experts can also speak with the MSMEs as to the approach they need to take in terms of automating their entire business process. I think that's a step-by-step approach would be an ideal, especially for MSMEs, considering the cost implications and also for them to immediately reap the benefits, by doing one step at a time, and they can see the benefits and then move to the next. I think it makes valid sense, Vijay, here. So I think, we had some good session here. I just want to ask if there are any parting thoughts, some insights, some tips or tricks that you would like to share with the audience here today. Finally,
okay, I just want to share some 3-4 slides here. If it is okay that I would like to do.
Please go
and
ahead.
In fact, John, when you started, you started with a very positive note. Okay.
Yeah.
That saying that all these things you do, these are the benefits, but I am not going to talk that. Okay, I'm a devil's advocate.
Right.
So let me share my presentation. I will just show very quickly. Probably, if it has come up, please let me know.
Yeah, it's come up.
It's come up. Okay, super. Okay,
put it in a media. Right. Perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So now look at IT automation has been there for 30 years now.
Right.
Okay. But still, it is for the industry, it is almost like shooting at dark for them, right?
Right.
The reason is, there is a global study where, I have pulled out, you can also see that 50 to 70% of that, projects actually fail, or it is not meeting the end purpose. Okay. The reason is lack of preparedness. Okay.
Right.
It is very important that we have to know that, breakthroughs are not planned. They are prepared. Okay.
Right.
And the another good statement what I loved is, better be afraid and prepared rather than, happy and dead. Okay. So when we are starting a project, we should be afraid and we have to be prepared. Right. And most of such ERP projects, most of it doesn't go through smooth. Right. So we should know that, yes, there could be problems and we should be prepared for that.
Right.
And there are only 3 things I would like to recommend. One is a right fit solution. Second, price wise, it should be affordable. Third, it should have a cultural fit within the organization. Okay.
Right.
So the organization preparedness and system preparedness and your investment preparedness, all the 3 things are equally important for us. Okay. I just want to give, this is the last slide. I just want to give by saying that these are all the things which is happening in every project. Every project, all these things happens, right? Now, not everyone will embrace the IT automation project. Okay. So this we have to know, because the reason is, beware that most trusted people and experienced people in the organization think that this kind of ERP and IT automation project is going to reduce their importance. Okay. And my famous example here, John, it is like you have seen your mother. Have you seen your mother-in-law? Okay. Okay. So that phase will come. So we should be prepared for that. And that's where I would say, the top management cannot have, act goody-goody, right? So they have to know there's something going wrong. We need to fix it. I would say the policing process does not give policing results. Okay.
Right.
And the middle management of the organization also have to take a very active part. They probably they shouldn't feel that ERP is some end user project. Some guy is entering data, he will take care. No, because approvals are there, masters are there, many things are there. So the top management thinks that it is not my project. Middle management also will leave the project, right? So it is not. I mean, once again, I would say that Chandrayaan is not going to land. Chandrayaan will take off, but it will not land. Okay.
Correct.
And never keep an ERP expert for ERP implementation. It is like having a car designer to drive the car. It is not going to happen. Somebody designed the car, he is good at designing. Somebody has to drive the car, you should get a mechanic to drive it, right? Correct. So it's very important. You need to have a project manager for that. So I always would recommend the project manager should be a guy who doesn't have any experience in ERP. It's very important. That's the point. And delay in timelines should not be tolerated. Daily, weekly meetings has to happen to see the project is rolling out on time. And be careful about customization. The customization as a word, it sounds very nice. Somebody is going to modify it as per my requirement. But I am telling you, many of the projects are killed because of customization. We have to be very careful about it, right? And then IT automation is for capturing data, and the proper workflow is all fully covered. And please don't expect anything more than that. But of course, whatever the decision making is required, we can have a proper BI tool to get all those data done in the system. And let go people who constantly come up with the reasons for delay and requirements. Very important, right? So in IT project, we have to be very watchful. That's why I always say that, this word I will use once again, mother and mother-in-law, we have to be very careful about it. They are two different people. Post-implementation care is very important, and we should not ignore, because many of the projects, after putting so much of effort, their data got messed up many other times. And, after about 3-4 years, the system has gone out of use. Okay. So these are all the things I thought I wanted to talk, and probably I am done, John. And
thank you so much. I think some valid thoughts here. The finally, especially I'm just taking that the management's keenness is very important, and they should be part of this journey. It's not that you basically start it off and leave it to somebody else. They've got to be part of this. And obviously, you talked about the different fits as well. I think this all will really make important sense here. So thank you so much, Vijay. And with that, I'll just open it up for the audience questions as well. So there's some questions. Please post it to Mr. Vijay, and I'm sure he'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, John. Good.
Yeah.
Good session. I think coming up here, I'll also see that.
I'm just checking if somebody's got.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Vijay. Yeah, this is Atharva here. So here we have spoken about automation and ERP for MSMEs in general. But what do you think are hindering the process of the manufacturers to take up ERP and process automation? Why do you think there are a lot of people in India till date who have not yet opted for it?
Very good question, Atharva. See, the most important point is people don't want to fail, right? So, the one is the investment. Investment is quite large. That's where I talked about, it should be functionally fit, and price-wise, it should have a fitment, right? See, all of us, we do the same thing, Atharva. If you look at, when I'm trying to book a train, okay? So I would like to book a train where I can afford to travel, right? So any travel, like whether I want to stay in a hotel or anything. So I would like to book something where I can afford, right? So that I'll be able to enjoy the my travel or anything, right?
Right.
So the three things, what is very important, it is a fear of failure, which is actually holding MSMEs to take this step, right? So that is where the consultants have got a huge role to play in telling the industry, hey, look, there is a right product and it has been properly priced, and the product will work very successfully for you, and you will also be able to get ROI, and it is affordable, right? And most importantly, they should tell them that, look, you can take a trial, and it is a fully supported trial, and you are able to check the product before you buy. There are many things are lacking, Atharva.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Can you talk about the importance of the change management in an ERP implementation transition? ERP as a process, you are referred to the people being insecure. How does one address it, and what is the role HR department play? Can be okay. I think this is a good question from Aditya Nataraj.
Yep.
So this is very important. See, everywhere, people talk about change management, but I think we should have a regular, review meetings and keep telling people. See, one thing what we should do, in my personal opinion, change management is not a very complex thing. right? We have to tell people only one point, boss, ERP is here to stay. Okay. And if you are also going to here to stay, better learn it, right? So I can give classic example, like John, in your opening statement, you said that, the implementation of adoption of IT is going to increase the manpower requirement of the organization. People will think they will lose their job, right? So the two things about losing their job and losing their importance, the both things people have to leave and come out. But for this, we should not spend too much of time, right? We have to tell them ERP is here to stay, or IT automation is here to stay. We need to learn if you have to move forward, because organization cannot move forward without it. But all I would say, beyond a point, within 6 months, the organization has to clear out who are part of the game, who are not part of the game. Okay, some people are not part of the game. We must be in a position to tell them, thank you so much, and we will meet you again. We are good friends, and thank you. That's it. Okay. So all I am saying is, within 3 months, people are not aligning. Wasting time is not going to make anything good, right? So that is what we have to do, because sometimes in the under the word of change management, people do too many things. Okay, it's not going to work, in my personal opinion. Give them time, reiterate them, and tell them. Sometimes I have found the top management talking loosely somewhere in the sidelines, saying that, yeah, we have taken ERP. I don't know whether it's going to work or not. If he makes one statement, the ERP is gone, right? So they have to tell them, yeah, we are having problem. Yeah, I know it is trouble, but we have to do it. Okay. That one statement, they have to talk for 3 years. Okay. Then you will find it is going to happen. So the change management is the top management has to speak one word. Okay. They should not say, moment they make a doubt word, and then this team will form up. They will say, sorry, I have this problem, that problem. They'll come and creep and go. All I am saying is, within 3 to 4 months, we have to figure out who are part of this project, not part of the project. So tell them thank you. And I think we have a huge HR kind of stuff. If you are, pain is going to figure out. See, can anybody say ERP is bad for the organization? No, right? Yeah. So I hope I answered. Is there any incentive for MSME ministry? Okay. See, there is one scheme which has come up called Ministry of MSME has given a scheme called Digital MSME Scheme. And I am very happy to say we are the first product which has got listed under that. John, I have not told you. Okay. Now the scheme is on hold. Okay. They are now trying to revive it, but presently there are no scheme. That scheme is under revival now. When it comes, I think they could use that scheme. Yeah. And Raghuram is asking, Vijay, there are customers who insist consultants for customization.
Yes.
Even if we show how standard system works, the customer require everything on a single click. How to handle it? Okay. Yeah, this happens. Yeah. It's a very, very valid question. See, Raghuram, what we have to show, most of the times, we have to tell them that it is not going to be very simple process. It is not like an Excel sheet. Sometimes people try to compare Excel. I am entering too much of data here and all that, because it is required for system validation and for approval process, right? So we are putting certain system, and definitely it will be slightly longer, but large systems will be too complex, right? So it is almost like, taking a JCB and go for a cup of tea, it will become too complex. People should not choose that kind of a system, but it will not be as easy as Excel, right? But we have to tell them some via media, we have to find out. And most of the time, we should not cut short the standard workflow of the ERP system, because otherwise we lose the, system integrity point of view. And we have to tell them this is required for the, system to run effectively. That's all it is. And as I said, customization is a very dangerous word. We have to be very watchful for that. Okay, many of our clients are in apparel manufacturers. Can you extend your support? Yeah, we can do. Because apparel manufacturers also they also come under, standard material, they're cutting, and then, their process, subcontract going out and coming back, because most of it is a subcontract process, right? Most of the time it is going out and coming back. So all these things has to be handled through the system, and we have a perfect system for that. Yeah. In fact, our system, that's what we say. We don't find a difference between Maggi noodles and, Chandrayaan 3. Chandrayaan 3 also, if you have to make, I have the same process. Okay, you have a raw material, you have a subassembly, you make it, everything can be made as per that. So that's what we tell the industry. We don't find a difference. Of course, there are certain specific configurations are there. I'm just joking because the pharma industries needs a specific configuration. Electronic industries need a configuration. We have configurations, but by and large, everything comes under the same framework actually. Yeah.
Right.
Mr.
One of
Vijay,
the problems. Yes, sir. Yeah, Aditya. Yeah, but Nitin, go ahead. There is one question which has come up. Yeah.
before that, thank you. It was an amazing session, no doubt about it. Very engaging. So there are a lot of new generation people. I forget which generation they are, Z, X, Y, and all that. So they all look for the gist of it. So this a very engaging 40-minute session. If I were to ask you to put it in probably 3 or 4 lines that will make the MSMEs to start looking towards ERP or automation. How would you try to put a concise statement to that? Some kind of a catchphrase or something like that. I was just looking at that.
Okay, so see, it is only two things, Nitin. Point number 1 is growth. Okay. Point number 2 is stability. Right. So these are all the 2 things on which the organization will be able to take them to the next level. Right. If they want to grow, if they want to be stable, these 2 things are important. I'm telling you, Nitin, most of the people are used to the firefighting and they already accepted that their way of life. Right. So every day morning when they come, there are about 40 phones people accept. They will be doing multitasking and they already accepted their way of life. That's a problem. So if you go tell them that the stability and growth can be achieved a lot more stylish way, people won't be able to understand, right? So only few people can take. But most importantly, you have to catch hold of the new generation entrepreneurs, right? I mean, when you're talking about the second or third generation, they'll be able to understand. But of course, they'll have a challenge in convincing their parents and grandparents. He will say, I've been running business for the last 30 years without even doing a manual accounting. Why do you want IT now? They don't understand that the things have become much more faster outside, right? Products has to be launched fast, product has to be obsolete fast, delivery has to be happen fast. Everything is faster and faster today. Without IT system, it cannot happen. So the most important thing is growth and stability can come only with IT, rest will diminish, right? So these are the 2 things we can tell them. Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Very
probably
nicely.
Aditya Natraj has made one
final
more
questions. 2 questions we'll take, Vijay.
We'll take question. One of the problems that I observed in different systems and packages for different processes create islands of information in large companies. How do we consolidate everything in one place and dashboard and top management? Okay, this probably Aditya, what we could do, I guess, is if there are islands of information, the best way is if it is going to be in any database. Okay, you got some systems working, you got some Excel sheets working, you got some CRM system working. If it has all been happening properly, let it happen. You go for a BI tool so that the BI tool can go for assorted system and they can get information there. It can come to a single dashboard, right? So sometimes we cannot do it with multiple systems. When you talk about ERP, it won't do what PLM is doing, and when you talk about PLM, it won't do what CRM is doing. So you definitely at a point of time, if an organization has got a true need of some specific application, they need to have that. But the mix and match would be done through a BI tool. But there are certain APIs which has to be developed so that the data integration and duplicacy of data is reduced. That's very important. That effort has to happen. I agree with your point. So BA tool and the API integrations are the answers for the question what you have asked. The construction industry, they are also be covered by automation. Yeah, definitely. Even construction industry could do, and they will also be able to do that. So Srinivas, my friend, thank you, Mr. Vijay. It was truly wonderful session. Thanks, Srinivas.
Right. I think we are pretty much there.
Pretty much there. Yeah. 45 minutes up.
We are done. So thank you once again, Vijay. It was an absolutely informative and interactive session we had with you. I'm sure the audience have quite a lot of to take back. I'm sure there's so much of information that you have given them, and there's a lot of questions that you've answered. So once again, thank you all again, everyone, for being here in this session. And this is John signing off until I see you in the next episode of Join John with another interesting topic. Bye. Yes. Thank you so much, Vijay, once again.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Yeah. Bye.
Niche Brains. Democratizing digital transformation.